per speaker, or if she only allows certain people based on their topics. Yeah, so the email I got says they only allocate 15 minutes, doesn't matter how many, and then she gets to decide how many minutes are allocated per speaker, or she chooses a speaker based on location and topic as submitted.
This is not how it's ever been.
So this is why I'm going to tell them to fuck off when I start our own district. That's my message tonight, honestly. Excuse my language, I won't say that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's French, right? It's a bouquet off-air. But it's not okay. Like, look at us. Like, look at concerned parents standing here. This is not okay. There's nothing okay about this entire thing.
And you know there's 100 times more people that are concerned with custodian.
And that's why I was trying to get these shoes. I've talked to hundreds of people this last week. I've talked to politicians at the cities. I've talked to teachers. I've talked to students. This is not a game, you know. So that's why we're all here together, you know, in the rain, when we could be at home. They're watching from the comfort of their own office or home, and they eat. We're paying for this damn building.
What we should do is find out the residents and have the meetings outside of their home.
I have no problem with that.
I wonder if you guys could try to get behind, like in here as much as possible. Like the speakers will be maybe here.
Yeah, well, I'll just hold it for you like this. But when I have this too, thank you. The reason why I've held it is because he can't get in with his login. He's supposed to be first. I'm supposed to be second. So I'm just going to tell him when they say, hey, he's not here. And the problem is nobody's watching the meeting, so we don't know if she's saying how many they're allowing or what the ruling is. Yeah. So I'm just going to put this here and then we'll watch it. That's what I'm saying. Is nobody on it right now?
Just sit with my time and say, oh, well,
They will.
your time up.
They will.
You're kind of
They did it for us last week. It's not okay. Who all's here to talk, by the way? So, 1, 2, anybody else? Okay, so we'll see who else shows up.
Oh, I am, yeah.
Online? Right there, okay. Wait, and Tara?
Yeah, and mine, I
Okay.
think mine short down.
I didn't-
I have one email and then for an extra 30 seconds.
Okay.
Maybe I can.
Yeah, and you guys, listen, it's not James, we're trying to decide who's all who and what's up, but it's up to them, I guess. The problem is with doing it here, they can't see all these shoes.
So, no, Aaron, when you start yours, you like.
And if you guys want to like get boisterous behind anything I'm saying, go ahead. I no problem with that.
Does anybody else take time to get this? Thank you for coming.
Getting stuff closer to can and then go up. Will you be able to do that?
I have a shoe in there, you can see.
Yeah, but I'm saying you just go up there and can. So will you be able to see?
When they start to speak, then I'll do the hand. Because I have to edit some of this out. It ends up being too long.
Oh, that's a former one? No, that's
That's a big
They're gonna push this like new district. Good. We have no representation. They're all around
It
representation.
says Eric has it says Eric has a stamp now.
Because Barry didn't. So it's because he's not logged in. I guess. So I'll try and tell him Barry's here. Try to- Well, and that's only because I don't think Barry's here. He can't log in. So what I'm going to try and say is Barry's here. Those are first off. That's what they're saying. This is getting awful. I was like nervous. What did it show for? Fair weather. So we're going to prepare. So the other thing that we could be focused on is the governor race. In Oregon, the head of education is appointed by the governor. It's not elected position. So effectively and by systematically, education in Oregon is political. But it's a governor appointed position. They do the school district does the bidding of the governor. So by getting a new governor, that they could appoint a new head of education, and that would be the single most important thing to do statewide.
Okay, wait. It says you're up first.
Yeah, but that's because I don't think Barry's logged in. I'm thinking
Oh, because he's literally not.
he's literally not logged, so they don't know he's here.
Perfect then. You can just say, hey.
That's what the plan is. I'll try and say, hey, Barry's here. Is your LinkedIn work? What is she saying?
Talking about agenda.
Okay. I'm fine. I don't really calendar.
They're hoping that you'll get tired.
More motivated. And more people are saying to do this stuff. And it's our kids. This is not like some like random thing. I don't like to take it out. Like, all right, I gotta do it. Yeah.
Do you have any ideas about how to?
Speakers should give their name and residence and move it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3 minutes left.
Yes, he's gonna film everything and all you got.
Just so you know, Barry's actually here, but his link didn't work, so he's gonna go first. Barry's actually here, but his link didn't work, so he's gonna go first, okay? So he's right here.
Hi there. First of all, you know, I've lived in the Happy Valley area for 55 years, my whole life. Went to the original Happy Valley. Grew up through the entire school district. My mom was one of the founders of the very first PTA. I'm here. I'm a single dad of a 15-year-old that goes to Adrian Nelson. I'm just going to give you a little story. I know we've talked about vaccine mandates and stuff. My son was one of the unfortunate ones that has had severe repercussions from it. About 2 days after he got his vaccine, it was the Pfizer, he came into my room complaining that his chest hurt. I told him, I said, it's probably something you did at football. Go lay down, it'll get better. He comes back in, he goes, no, something's really wrong. We end up going to the ER. The doctor says this is an instance of the vaccine. It has been known to happen in young males. So he now has endocardiosis, which is inflammation of the chambers inside the lining. He now has pericardiosis, which is both the heart and the sac around it. That first night, he had to sleep sitting straight up and down because the inflammation would hit the back of his rib cage. So he couldn't lay flat. They prescribed us Advil and Tylenol, sent us home. Got there at about 11:30 at night, got home 6:30 in the morning. The following day, we kind of just monitored it. Everything seemed to be getting better, and then about 8 o'clock that night, he goes, Dad, it's hurting again, really bad, almost in tears. And I said, well, go do what the doctor says, sit straight up. He goes, I've tried that, but he said something else is different. Now, I want you guys to think of this as your kid is telling you this. He says, my whole left side is numb. As a parent, I'm trying not to panic and show him that I'm scared. So I said, get in the car. We went back to the ER. This time we went straight back. We never left for another 8 hours, hooked up to monitors, all of this other BS that was going on. Kaiser doesn't have a pediatric cardiologist, so then they referred us to OHSU. So in about 4 days, we went to OHSU. We're there for almost 6 hours doing tests and interviews. He was one of 2 cases that they had known so far. In that week's time, there were 12 new cases that showed up at OHSU. So it's not as uncommon as they like you to believe. This is my son here. This is what they had to send home. It's a heart monitor. He had to wear this for a day and a half so that they could get a baseline of his heart and how it is acting up. Long story short, he seems to be recovering, but they still have not given me any indication that there's any long-term harm to this. They said it could be 6 months before we see any kind of progress. Again, he plays football at Adrian Nelson. He just started wrestling. We have to monitor it very closely to make sure. He's 15. He doesn't know when to stop. That's kind of my story. What I'd like to ask and kind of put out to you as board members, if you are really thinking about making this a mandate, I would like you to get on the record and say, we will pay any cost medically or long-term care if you make this a mandate. I'm looking at $6,000. That's just 2 emergency rooms.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to do that, they muted me. Of course it is. Yes.
Yeah, sure you are. Hey guys. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, you guys? You ready for me to start? Hey, just good news is real quick, this is gonna be the last time you hear from me. You can't see right now, I'll send you a bunch of pictures. We've collected hundreds of shoes representing parents that want me to deliver this last message, and then I'll be done talking to you guys. So They just want me to say this. Open your meetings, ensure families have medical choice for the use of max vaccines, stop pushing curriculum onto children that has proven to drive academic performance to the bottom of this country now.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. Yes.
Our children have been through shutdowns, masked, and been made to live in fear longer than almost any other state in this entire republic. You've
Yes.
achieved effectively a zero mortality rate, which is awesome. But so has other districts that have done the exact opposite of you, that have let their kids go to school, play sports, and go to dances. The difference is those states aren't suffering from an increase in bad behavior and reported cases of depression like ours are. For years, this district has followed the state to the bottom in education. This isn't happening despite your best efforts and plans. This is happening as a direct result of your best efforts and plans, period. And COVID didn't exacerbate this, the district's response to COVID did. So I did pick up something from the head of this board, and she said, education is the last monopoly in the world, and we broke up monopolies with a true intention because they're not helpful. But for some reason, we haven't done that education. That got me thinking. Hasn't history shown that those who feel oppressed and underrepresented don't get what they want from demanding it from those who are denying them a seat at the table like you guys are? Look at us in the rain. Look at you guys at home. They create their own table. We create our own seat, and they make those attempting us to hold us down irrelevant. So over the last week I went to work. I talked to politicians in the city of Milwaukee, the city of Happy Valley. I talked to hundreds of parents. I talked to worn out teachers. I talked to disenfranchised students. And I'll tell you this, if you guys don't start doing what's right for the kids, we will. I've dug deep into your budget, all 197 pages. I tore into it. I researched the precedents for establishing alternative districts. I've looked at options for families that are currently being left behind. And if you're not going to be doing the right thing, we will. And I can tell you right now, the sounds of a Happy Valley School District, the sounds of Milwaukee School District have never sounded better to parents and families that are frustrated as hell with what's going on. So you talk about equality, you talk about equity, we're asking you that you give our kids the same quality of education that other kids are getting across this nation, because our kids are not. Drop what's not working, drop your agendas, or we'll create our own districts with boards that'll do the right thing, period. I don't want to recall you, I don't want to fight with you. I'll just make you captains of a sunk ship. Thank you, enjoy your night from your warm house. Yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't have the mic to drop.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. Are you shaking, Eric? Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's not my. I know. I feel like I could go here. I can't. Who's gonna follow that? How do
We
you
can talk
follow?
about what we're done with this too.
We can be done with you too. Who has it on? Is there somebody else that's speaking? Yeah, Peyton does really know.
There's a delay on it, so
Oh, okay.
mildly helpful.
Who's talking?
Chrissy Schweitzer talking about basketball agendas.
I think she's talking.
Antonio goes by Tom. You wouldn't have fault.
Especially if you knew you were here from the sounds of it.
I really don't.
Yeah.
The fees that are being charged to us are time and a half. For a custodian, we've been renting gyms for over 25 years, every Saturday, every winter. We think it's time to hire a part-time person in that position on Saturdays so that we are not being charged time and a half wages. The fifth reason is that we should be allowed to sanitize our own gyms in the middle, in the beginning, and the end, and clean the gyms before we leave. We have been doing this for years, and I don't see why that is not an option for us this year. We've also entered a chart for you to see that our gym costs have raised from last season to this, from $5,200 to $11,896. We have lessened our gyms by 275 hours just to get to twice the cost as that we have paid previously. The reasons why we think the entire facility use fee should be changed is because the school board is now looking through a recouping cost lens. I don't know any other part of the North Clackamas School District that involves children to which this lens is used. We also think that whatever policy you create for facilities should not be a one-size-fits-all. We think that you should be at least using a sliding scale. You have 3 different feeder programs, and per the Oregon Department of Education, Milwaukee High School has 63% free and reduced lunches students. Rex Putnam has 44%, and Clackamas High School has 25%, and the fees are the same for all 3 of those groups. We also think that you've expressed to offer scholarships. We frankly can't offer 44% scholarships. We'll go under by next year financially. And I want you to think about one thing, and that is the lens that you use for high school athletes. They don't pay any different fees between playing basketball or soccer. They are charged one fee, and every free and reduced lunch child gets free athletic fees reduced. These are the kids that are going to become your high school athletes. They need a chance to play sports, and right now, we are not giving them a fair chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
I guess I want you guys to.
Next.
Or turn it down.
Hi there. Okay, I can't really hear you. Okay, are you ready? All right. I just wanted to say that our family has a long history with the North Clackamas School District, filled with so many great memories. This is where I met my husband. This is where I had a wonderful teaching experience at Mount Scott. This is where each of my 3 children have been nurtured and educated by several incredible teachers. However, over the past few years, there's been a shift that really concerns me in the district. There's a culture that's being fostered by some in the district that encourages something that we as educators and parents have been spent years trying to teach our children to stand against. This culture that I'm talking about is bullying. This bullying happens when somebody has a different opinion, an ideology that's different, or a political affiliation that is not embraced by the leadership of the school district. I've experienced this myself personally last year as an employee, when I simply just questioned the district's position that white supremacy, according to them, is entrenched in today's society. For questioning this, I was told that I had, quote, harmed over 70 North Clackamas staff members, caused an emergency staff meeting, and it was determined that I had violated an employee handbook policy of not promoting a cooperative work environment by simply asking that question. I couldn't believe that I was apparently not allowed to discuss any other view other than the one embraced by the district. I resent being put in a position where I had to grovel and beg for forgiveness to keep from being terminated over sharing a different opinion. We've seen and heard about other instances of bullying throughout the district over just differing opinions. There's no shortage of controversy these days. That's true. People are at odds, but we should feel confident when we send our children to school that they won't be bullied at school for having a different opinion, especially by their teachers. Just a month ago, my son was bullied and ridiculed in front of his classmates when an educator learned that he had participated in a peaceful sit-out to protest the vaccine mandates. He was called a liar. He was intimidated when he tried to explain his position, and this educator said, quote, "Where do you get your facts? Fox News? Everyone knows Fox News is full of shit." She then encouraged the peers to interrogate him on his position, and he was called ignorant and selfish. This same teacher has now, as a retaliation, has called my employer and told them about my son's attendance. Okay. I am filing a formal complaint, yes. Okay. So the bullying that's happening in our district needs to stop. Okay, I'm sorry for violating your policy, but please let your teachers know that they should not be violating our children. Thank you.
What was the violation?
Shame on me.
What was the violation?
Nice job.
Calling out an employee for
Because I'm not supposed to have.
That was his challenge, just so you know, in Pennsylvania, and they won, saying it's a violation of your First Amendment rights not to be able to call them out specifically. There's now a precedent.
Nice job.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm fired up.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, you guys, we have an idea from the crowd, and I want to see what you guys think. I know we have other speakers, but what do you guys think about us leaving the shoes here?
now you can get made in trouble for that for like littering. I'm not kidding.
Hold on. Do we have any other opinions in the crowd?
It's a great
It's
idea.
a donation, and they can come and pick them up and donate
Yeah,
them.
they can donate them, it's fine, but they should know. They're cowards. Open their mouths.
I think we could vote on this, but I vote to leave them here.
By the way,
find
it's a
me.
great silent protest. You're not hurting anybody. That's a fantastic idea.
Do you guys think that'll do more than us taking a bunch of photos and posting them online?
Well, we can do that too.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm doing right now.
You know, God forbid, other groups, they just burn the damn place to the ground. We're not
Checking them at the some windows.
Yeah.
And it's perfect because you actually have to stop and drive around them.
What we can do is make sure we hold them accountable and follow up on Monday and see where they got donated to. Do we have like a really great camera?
This is not some sort of way that I mean, I love the message. I think it's probably one of those things where
This is pretty juvenile.
I think it makes a stronger image impact.
They're trying to find us for dumping.
I mean, it'd be something stupid like that. I mean, literally, it'd be like, you know, a fine for littering. Right? I mean, so, and they would jump at an opportunity. I love the idea. I don't want people to get
I'm on mute. How do I take it off?
Can you mute it?
Hello? My name's Tara Nelson, part of Clackamas County. Site Council plays an important role in decision making. Those who are involved with schools and students on a day-to-day basis, teachers, parents, and other school employees that can make some of the best decisions. Because of this, and Oregon State Law, ORS 329.704, we'd like to see site councils back at every single campus within our school district.
Yes.
Successful school site councils are a rubber stamp community. Thoughtfulness, challenging questions on many topics. Many site councils are also specifically charged with finding ways to close gaps in achievement between groups of students. Again, in Oregon State Law, ORS 329.704, we'd like to have site councils that are a right back on our campuses. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Good job, Kara. Short this time. And then, where are you in line right now, Corey? Corey's going. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, good evening. Hello, my name is Corey. I have a son in 5th grade currently attending school in North Clackamas. My hope from sharing today is to bring awareness to the importance of mental health and ask the question, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? I grew up in a neighboring community of Gresham. When I look back at my time spent going to school there, I have very fond memories of my public school education experience. Sure, there were tough things to get through, but nothing compared to what these kids have experienced these past few years. What they deal with through having social media, cell phones, and an overabundance of information at their disposal is very different from the experience I had trying to decipher messages on my pager in high school. The pandemic has given us a glimpse of what the kids are learning and going through in school, and I have to say, we as parents we have some concerns. I cannot imagine how kids right now feel having so many different political narratives thrown at them and being forced to pick a side or else. It's as if you're shamed for loving your country, shamed for who you vote for, shamed for who your parents vote for, shamed for the color of your skin, shamed for how you feel about the pandemic and its origins, and so on. I think most parents want what's best for their kids. I think regardless of political ideologies and agendas, we want them to excel and be successful, good contributing members of society. So my question to you is, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? My son, who happens to be multiracial, has struggled tremendously with the feeling of isolation from the pandemic and the challenges he faces not feeling like he fits into one certain racial group. His mental health has taken a toll, and I have a feeling that many kids are suffering these same issues. I am shocked. Kids, bottom line, our kids are confused and their mental health and stability is not being nurtured. I am shocked by the new information that the CDC has released that states ER visits for suicide attempts in children ages 12 to 17 in 2020 was up by 22%. And that trend seemed to continue to uptick in 2021 at an alarming rate of almost 40%. What policies are you implementing to take care of these kids and to set these kids up for success? What are you doing to address this very clear mental health issue amongst our students in the district? I think the strength of these kids is amazing. Now let's make sure that they have the support that they need. Let's put the political narratives aside and keep the focus on the kids.
Yes.
Let's help them heal and shepherd them to a successful future. Please help me answer the question, what is being done to address our children's declining mental health from this pandemic? Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Is that all the speakers?
Yeah, great job.
Was there anybody else who would like to say something?
Does anybody want to say anything to the group at all? Have any ideas? Do you have any questions about what I was trying to position for, or why I was saying what I was saying? It's like I'm just done beating our head against the wall of nothingness.
Make sure these
Does that make
pictures
sense?
shoot to
Yeah.
Oregonian, Pamplin Media.
Going to.
And they may do nothing with them, but at least send them and just say, you know.
We have our own platform now. We don't need the media as
Right.
much as we used to.
Right.
You know, anything that's worth being shown or being seen, it will go viral on its own. You know what I mean? And then they pick you up. So yes, I have the contacts. I'll absolutely send it. Just you guys, your dedication to coming out a night like this is amazing. I'm sorry I got so fired up. It's just I look at these kids and it's just, and I look at us and what we have to go through to advocate kids at a public school. There's nothing about it that's right, and I don't try and stand in a sense of moral righteousness because everyone has their own opinion, but this does not seem right on any level. And the way the kids are being treated does not seem right. It's just not. There's no. They talk about equity. It's the most false stance I can possibly imagine. It's conformity or else. And it's that kind of grab for power that just infuriates me, right? And it's like if you really want to coexist, then coexist. Stop trying to dominate, or else it just pisses people off, you know. And then we're forced to do something. I don't want to do this. I was calling the mayors of these towns. I'm calling politicians. I'm calling legal. I guarantee you, I can sit in front of an entire city council and be like, by the way, don't you want to be the city council that brings your own school district to your city? Don't you want to be the mayor that has a legacy of being able to take control of education for your town? By the way, here's the financials. I went through it. Like, I think it's a pretty easy sell, right? And there is also precedence for it. It's not just to do it. It's because we've got people like these that would have good ideas that would sit in front of constituents and actually care. Right? Not what's happening now. So she said, Libra said about busting up monopoly, so I use that against her. Like, okay, you want to talk about acting tough? Let's bust up your monopoly, right? Having a multi-jurisdictional school district does nobody any favors. And then I got some flack when I posted online and said, oh, it's rich versus poor. I'm like, no, that's the problem. That's what you've been led to believe.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
No, that sort of tribalism is what I'm actually trying to fight. My kids are going to be fine, by the way. I have no reason to be here for my children. My kids are great. Most of you know what I'm saying? Like, their kids are left behind. The gap that they're creating between the have and the have-nots is bigger and bigger every freaking day. And then they're being told that they're victims, and it's just not right. I'm sorry I'm going off. I can't stop thinking about it all day, every day.
So unhealthy.
You know, and it's just, and these kids, I deal with kids all the time, and I get text messages from kids saying, what do I do? I'm being told this. What do I do? How do I react? Do I just pretend like I get along and not write what how you feel? And my heart breaks. I'm like, who's doing this to these children? These aren't their young minds to mold. They're there to inspire, and they're not being inspired. They're being placated. They're being pushed around and bullied.
They're being used.
And that's not okay. So here we are. We're in the night sky. We got shoes, and thank you guys.
And I want to ask, I seriously want to ask every teacher at North Clackamas, are they pedophiles? Just why are, no, I'm being serious. Why are we talking about this stuff constantly in every class? I don't get it.
It's an awkward
That's what
obsession.
I'm saying. It's like the suicide rate's up by 40%.
That is an abuser.
Yeah.
So I have had a lot of pally discussions with teachers who they just really fearful of their own safety. Kids are acting up.
Right. Oh, yeah.
They don't have any support from administration. They're told basically just let them go, don't make a scene.
Yes.
We don't want any liability. These poor teachers too. This isn't us against teachers.
Right.
This is us against a system that puts everybody as a victim. And very few people in power, and I'm done with that. We have power. We have more power than they ever think that we do. Right? We have all the power. They don't have the power that we give them. How many people are there? 4 or 5? Okay, really? We're going to let them dictate all of our children's lives, what they put in their body, what they put on their face? No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
Well, how do we get teachers? We know there's a lot of teachers in the district that are really good people that have just been swept up and find themselves in this predicament. And I have friends that are like, I just keep to myself.
They can't. They're. I mean,
it's crazy, and so
it's
it's like
impossible to find a teacher.
It would have to be.
I think
we
we
need
need
to
to get a group
we need
together.
to like help
numbers.
them find each
Kinda
other.
like
And then
in
like
secret.
the numbers is how it's just so frustrating because
Teachers union is powerful.
oh yeah,
You know,
And they're the
It
ones
is.
that push what I just said.
Yes.
From the top. They're the ones that push all that.
And like I was trying to mention earlier, the governor race is a massively important thing because schools are politicized because of the way the system is. So if we really want to change the system statewide, we've got to work on a governor race.
yes.
We're now 49th or 48th, depending on the study, in terms of the country.
Not good either way.
State. Come on. Why?
It's so sad.
If I tell you right now, all I would do, I go, hey, who's number one? Cool, let's send a commission there, copy what they're doing, and bring it back. How hard is that?
Really, how hard is that?
You don't have to reinvent the wheel. This isn't like success leaves clues, and they're just wanting to have their own agenda. Say, hey, we're going to feel so good about ourselves and do all this pat on the back, and then give teachers or parents in the rain 15 minutes to talk. Get out of here with that. Get out of here with that. So, anyways, let's claim our power, please, and stand up. And you know, I'm just done talking to them. This will be the last time I'm here. But if you guys aren't getting what we want, if I'm not getting what we want for our children, meaning choice essentially, and a lack of this pressure to be a certain thing, then I will just absolutely go full bore into looking at creating new school districts. Period. That's it. Because I'm not going to go to people and demand change that aren't willing to give us change. So we'll just make them irrelevant.
Eric, would you be willing to speak to the Clackamas County Women's Federation for education and
Listen, I'm just here to help. Like that, if that can help, sure. And it's to try and allow people to like. I think that it's bad energy to go want to tear something down. So I don't want to go tear down them. I don't want to recall them. I don't go tear down. I want to go build something better. Yes. Right? And that takes intent and logic. And that's why I use the word irrelevant on purpose. Because it's not to go villainize them. Great. If you're not going to do it, then we will find people that will. Because that's the right thing to do. Yep. And if it's not the right thing to do, then we can't do it. It can't be done. I just have a feeling it can be.
Yep.
That's it.
And I mean, we can just put them on notice. Like, hey.
And that's all I was doing tonight.
You're an elected position. Your days are numbered. So.
Period. And even worse, they have higher political aspirations.
Yes.
So I was trying to say, hey, you want to be the politician who's on the sunken ship? Great. Ride that ship out. Because then you're done at the next level. Okay, and that's fair. That's fair. So that's that's very fair. So prove that you're worthy of an election, or be worthy of our vote, or go away. Right? Anyways, okay, I'm done talking. Okay.
So I got one of the things I've been wondering about, because I'm actually a part of another Facebook group that ended up starting to get throttled by Facebook. So one of the things I think, I don't know if there's already a backup way for us to be able to communicate.
Other than Facebook?
Yeah, because I think that we probably want to make sure, because this other one, I mean, they started throttling all kinds of information communication and everything. I mean, they got in there and they are approving everything, and so you know that there's a lot of information that's not being put out, or communications that they tried to in order to coordinate people, and so I would hate for them to take over this one too, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, how do we connect and find each other?
Communication is a big issue. Logistically, to do something big, you have to have logistics. You have to have communication. You've got to have a plan. You have to have strategy, and communication we just don't have. So Telegram might be a great platform. If you get on there, that's a lot easier to get around. So if we want to have a Telegram group, that might be optional. There's no other social media platform, right?
Not
so
yet. Not at the moment.
Not yet.
There
right.
will be.
There will be.
2022.
Yeah, there will be. But Telegram might be. It's the only one I personally know of that would have kind of free reign to say what you want. But
we should be advertising that on Facebook.
Well, it hasn't been made yet. So we need to be thinking
Or is
about
there a way that we can create it, or somebody, has anyone ever created one and worked
I think
with
we
them
have.
before?
I think we already have like a group, but nobody has.
Oh, Telegram.
Yeah, there's like not a
I
lot of people. that,
It's really
think I have
easy.
a Telegram. It's just a matter of doing it.
It's easy.
yeah.
It's just
I mean,
an
I
app,
haven't
right?
developed it.
It's just an app.
Yeah.
I'm on Telegram. I belong to quite a few groups.
Like,
I got on it during the
yeah,
election,
I
but
download the app.
So I guess we just need to get over our
It's
version
basically
and
have conversation. I mean, it's
actually
just
not
a
bad.
thread.
Yeah.
You can just keep going,
Yeah.
day to day.
Oh gosh. Okay.